sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Phillies.
Good start to the homestand so far for the Angels. Have taken the first two against the Chicago White Sox. And on a beautiful night for baseball on this Wednesday, it is Game 3 against the visiting Sox. And we are broadcasting from the Diamond Club inside the Big A. We welcome inside for Game 3. He is Mark Kubica. I'm Victor Rojas. We're having a lot of fun here at the Diamond Club. Of course, we're going to talk about all kinds of things throughout the ballgame. We're going to feed the beast. We're going to bring food down here. I hope you didn't eat before dinner tonight.
No, I'm ready to roll.
To go.
Ready to go. This is a great atmosphere.
Yep.
We'll see some great pitching from Weaver, see how they break on them, see how the hitters are able to stay back, or if they're out in front on some of those off-speed pitches.
A different vantage point for you, and we'll give you all the different angles throughout the ball game as well. And talking about tonight's ball game, go back to last night. Cole Calhoun last night starting the trend. We saw 2 home runs 2 nights ago. Last night, the multi-homer game again. Cole, now a career high.
Yeah, and using the entire field, Victor. Take a look at our tools of the trade brought to you by Ram Trucks. He stayed back so well on that pitch out over the plate. That's the key for Cole. When he stays back and uses the entire field, he is an incredible hitter hitting that ball the other way. Stay back at the balance. The foot is down, and then the path, the swing path through the baseball drives it out. You mentioned that. Career high. 18, but also when you think about it, the Angels are 13-4 when Cole hits a home run. Hopefully he'll do so against the Margin tonight.
You got a couple of high-intensity guys on the mound. You got a couple of high-intensity guys here in the Diamond Club. It is smoking hot down here.
That'll be a jump ball with those 2 guys on the mound. There's some height on the mound today.
Yeah, Jess and Marge go for the White Sox. Jared Weaver on the mound for the Angels. Sit back and relax. We're going to bring in the lineups in the first pitch when we return. Just waiting for the lineup cards to be exchanged. They just finished that, and we're just waiting for Jared Weaver to get ready and take the mound. Good start to the homestand, as we mentioned. Even with the White Sox in town, they have continued to reel out on the road. They've lost 6 straight now away from U.S. Cellular Field. It's good to be at home, and it's good for the Angels to pick up a couple of victories and hopefully gain some momentum, especially with no Albert Pujols in the lineup tonight.
And they pitch so well, and they're playing some solid enough defense and hitting. Not a lot, but timely hitting. That's important, especially the way they pitch these first 2 games of this homestand against the White Sox.
We see Weaves taking the mound, so we will check out Robin Ventura's starting lineup for the Sox. They are at 55 and 67. And with the 2 losses to start this homestand for the Angels, they now find themselves 6 back of the second wild card spot. Very similar lineup for Robin Ventura. Adam Eaton leading things off in center. Jose Abreu at first base. Melky Cabrera in left. Avisail Garcia, the DH. J.B. Shuck in right field. Alexi Ramirez at short. Carlos Sanchez gets a start at second base. Tyler Flowers behind the plate. Tyler Saladino batting ninth, playing third. As they take on Weaver, making his 19th start of the season, 4-9. And a 4.60 ERA. Gooby, you're talking about a team in the White Sox very aggressive, similar to that of the Royals, whom he faced the last time out.
And he's thrown the ball well twice now since coming back from the disabled list. And it's a great point, Victor, you made with his off-speed pitches to be very effective against the White Sox. And my go-tos, what he has done against Moni, 60 hits allowed in nearly 80 innings pitched, a batting average of just 206. He's 9-2 against the White Sox with near a 2.15. He has won 5 straight against Chicago.
Secondly, the defense for the Halos tonight. David DeJesus gets the start in left, Mike Trout in center, Cole Calhoun in right. The infield with Caleb Coward and Eric Ibar on the left side, Johnny Giavatello and C.J. Cron on the right. Carlos Perez once again behind the dish.
And how fun is it going to be from this angle to see Mike Trout track down a baseball out in center field. Career high 5 assists, no errors in his last 116 games for Mike Trout in center. For whatever reason, he seems to make that spectacular play when Weaves on the mound. So look for it tonight, especially from this angle. We can see how quick that first step is with Mike Trout.
Little surprised to see no Albert Pujols in the lineup tonight.
Yeah, especially with his numbers against Zamarja. But I talked to Mike Scioscia about that before the game. He has to find a way to give him a day off here and there just to make sure he's ready, especially in that month of September when a lot of games, especially that next homestand, where you have the Dodgers, the Texas Rangers, and the Houston Astros all coming to town.
Halos, of course, are in the midst of 17 straight games before their next off day. That's coming up on Monday. And will be an off day in Michigan as they get ready to take on the Tigers. Tonight's first pitch being delivered by the UPS store. Off speed outside. That's 1 ball, no strikes on Eaton. Hitting .261, 10 home runs, 31 RBIs. Eaton last night ended up going 0 for 4. Did pick up an RBI late. This was fouled back. Angels picking up the 5-3 win.
And the one thing you notice right away with Weaver, anytime he's on the mound, a left-handed batter at the plate will have that communication with either C.J. Cron here tonight or Albert Pujols to let him know he has that little slow roller on that side of the infield, allow him to play a little bit deeper for Cron at first.
Probably a little more conversation with Cron than you would have, say, with Albert Pujols playing first base.
And that way you have more coverage, the deeper you can play at first base as a first baseman.
There's that slow breaking ball, very effective against the Kansas City Royals in his last start. Ended up working 6 innings, giving up 3 runs, 2 earned.
68-mile-an-hour curveball. That's a field pitch. It's good to see him have that early on.
Bouncer off of Weaver, ricochets toward Coward. He can't come up with it. Eaton with an infield base hit.
It's a fastball down and away. Went right back up the middle with it. Well, we got a good idea, especially when you're this close, how quick you have to react on a baseball right back at you. See this fastball right on the outside part of the plate, goes right back up the middle off the back of the thigh, hamstring area for Weaver. Especially after Weaver delivers the baseball, he's about 50 feet away.
That would be the buttocks. Or derriere. Busting out new words here in the Diamond Club.
There you go. We feel classy down here, that's why.
It won't last long. Here's Abreu.
Weaver's allowed 15 stolen bases in 19 attempts. Eaton with 11 stolen bases Weaver has 2 pickoffs. Looking for that step ball throw over at some point.
Abreu 297 on the season. 22 home runs, 70 RBIs. 3-hit game last night. A couple of singles and a double. All of those hits coming too with 2 strikes on him. He at one point was 0-2 in the count. A throw over. That's the White Sox don't run a whole lot, but Eaton's one of the guys that does. Alexi Ramirez as well. Good throw there. But you want kind of into the runner, right, Good?
Exactly. That's the way, you have, as a base runner going back, you have to try to find that back part of the base to be able to get your hand back. This time he's going to the closer part, just barely got those fingers on the base. A lot of times you'll see the base stealer go with that backhand to try to get the back of the base because it's a longer tag for the first baseman. Abreu has grounded into 14 double plays. I would not be surprised if Robin Ventura has Eaton going at some point here.
The 1-0, Eaton takes off, and this one fouled back. Actually got to pay attention down here with foul balls, huh?
Yes, indeed.
I can't wander off.
That's difficult for us during the course of a game.
Difficult for us to wander off?
Yeah,
or pay attention.
In the mind.
Robin in his 4th season. As we pointed out last week in Chicago, the expectations that went with the White Sox this offseason going into 2015. So they've not lived up to that. Another quick throw. Eleven stolen base spree, been caught 4 times. Ramirez, we mentioned, team leader with 15 bags. Carlos Perez did a nice job behind the plate. He doesn't go, and Abreu looks at an off-speed pitch for a strike. So tantalizing.
So hard as a hitter to stay back because you're so geared up to trying to time a pitcher, get that leg kick, and then get that foot down before you swing the bat. But when you're trying to stay back on a 68-mile-an-hour curveball, it's difficult. And Weaver can throw his changeup 73 to 76 range, sliders around 79, and then fastballs 83 to 85, sometimes 86.
Pitch out, nothing's happening. Paying a lot of attention now to Eaton.
It's been caught 4 times also. And Perez has a good throwing arm. He's thrown out a little over 20% of would-be base stealers. That's a good play by C.J. Cron. Low throw. Basically, he was putting his body in front of him. He did catch it with the glove. He was going to try to keep that baseball in front of him any way possible.
Infield base hit for Eaton to start this one off. 2-2, a swing and a miss. Down goes Abreu. First strike of the night for Weaver.
Good slow curveball once again. It's out in front. You see all the hips are opening up. He's trying to keep his hands back, but he cannot do so. Good rotation of that breaking ball. 12-6 break. 68-mile-an-hour curveball for a swing and miss.
Goes back to last night too. Garrett Richards was effective getting ahead of Abreu on the slow stuff, but all the hits coming on fastballs.
Yeah, then he would go back with the fastball. No, you got to force him to try to stay back. If he does, you got to tip your hat to him. But for me right now, Weave's best pitch, most consistent pitch really is his curveball. That feel, he can throw it at any point in the count. His changeup very good too. But he needs to get enough on the fastball to establish that to get the hitters out with his curveball.
Abreu hits one back up the middle. A base hit. Eaton will turn and head to third. Trout's throw is is not in time. He'd made up his mind very quickly that he was going to try to go to third base.
Pretty good throw again for Trout. Very aggressive base running, and Dino Ebel on the phone just to see if Howard was able to put the tag on Eaton before he got to the base. Good secondary lead going right away when that base hit up the middle, but Trout charged that well, and a good firm throw. Looks like he got his hand in there, and he kept it on the base.
So Weaver in a little bit of trouble here. Runners at the corners, and Garcia at the plate. DHing for the third straight game. 267, 11 home runs, and 45 runs batted in. 2 for 4 last night with 2 singles and a run scored. This one in the air down the line. Cole racing over into foul territory. This one into the seats.
Change up. So curveball, change up so far.
I see a little frustrated at chasing that pitch, perhaps.
He's shown a pretty good eye so far, not only in this series, but also in Chicago. But I still think in this terms for Weaver to try to get a ground ball potentially for a double play or a strikeout, I think you try a hard slider down and away. He's been quick on a fastball in, and that's where he's going to try to go.
Got him looking on the inside corner. Down goes Garcia. 2 outs.
Benefit of that call, that fastball at 82. Nice job by Carlos Perez is keeping that glove right there. Not a lot of movement. Went 4-seam fastball to make sure it stayed inside. Kept that glove there, gave a good look. Gets the punch out.
Product of a guy looking for an off-speed pitch up.
No question. But still, that's a fastball. When you throw a 4-seam fastball, you have to make sure you get that inside. Because if that drifts out over the plate, we've seen Garcia hit that one a long way.
Jamie Shuck, the right fielder, once again at the start there last night. And an 0 for 4 game. A couple of strikeouts, couple of singles allowed by Weaver here in the first. 16 pitches thrown by the righty. JB hits one high and deep to right center field. Trout racing back, and onto the track he goes to make the catch. So Weaver works out of it. We'll head down to the bottom of the first inning with no score. In the top of the first inning, we'll check out Mike Scioscia's lineup for the Halos. Game number 120 at 62-57. Johnny Giavitello leading things off at second base. Cole Calhoun at right. Mike Trout at center. David Murphy, the DH. And cleanup hitter tonight, C.J. Cron at first. Eric Ibart short. David DeJesus in left. Carlos Perez doing the catching, and Caleb Coward batting ninth and playing third base. They take on the 30-year-old right-hander, native of Merrillville, Indiana. His name is Jeff Samardzija.
And Samardzija has struggled in his last 3 starts. Going 15 to 3rd, 22 earned runs. My go-tos against them, though, is make sure you bring that splitter up. And left-handed power is giving up 14 home runs to left-handed batters so far this season.
Got a tough month of August, that's for sure. 0-3 with a 12.91 ERA, 5 home runs in 15 1/3 innings this month. 8-8 on the season, making his 25th start. A little bit upstairs. 1 ball, 1 strike. Johnny hitting .269, 3 home runs, 40 runs batted in. 1 for 3 game last night. Ryan Jackson took over for him defensively at second base late in the game. Foul back, 1-2.
Samardzija does have a good fastball. He's 91-96 slider, cut fastball, split finger fastball.
Had a very good month of July, but this month not kind to the Shark. Breaking pitch got Giavitello, and there's the first out. Good breaking pitch. Check out the White Sox defensively. Cabrera, Eaton, and Shuck in the outfield from left to right. Saladino, Ramirez, Sanchez, and Abreu from third to first. Flowers behind the plate.
And Sanchez has done a very good job for the White Sox at second base. .991 fielding percentage, which is best amongst second basemen in the American League. There's 3 errors, and he's done that all in 78 starts for him. Also very good as far as turning double plays. Really good range at the second base position.
Cole swings through the first one. 94-mile-per-hour fastball. Reached his 18th home run last night. New career high for him. He'd already surpassed his career high in RBIs. He's at 65 now. Batting average .268.
That's the one thing. That's a split finger fastball. It hasn't really gone straight down. It's more lateral movement. And that has been the pitch that's been hit lately against Samardzija, is split finger fastball.
Down and in. His last start was against the Cubs. Gave up 6 runs, 9 hits, 6 innings of work, 3 home runs in that one. There's 5 strikeouts, 2 walks. Picked up as part of a 6-player deal with the Oakland A's this past offseason. Free agent to be.
Gary DiSarcini was going to make sure he said hi to us. Getting ready to say and wave some base runners going around third base. That was awesome to be able to see that. I said, hey, please say hi to us down here, because he knew we were going to be a little different location than normal. So we're almost level with him right at this point. We're sort of, hey, let's get that arm moving. Let's get some guys and score some guys tonight.
Waving some food into his belly.
He said we'll have some about the 2nd, the 4th, and 6th inning. We're going to have a lot of beverages and food and dessert during the course of the game.
Full count on Cole with Trout up. This one down the line, and Abreu has it. Takes it himself, 2 down.
Monday key for this game today. A little killer dwarfs. Keep the spirit alive. The first 2 games have played very well. The long ball been prevalent, and some outstanding pitching. I'd love to see some early run support for Jared Weaver here in this game, and perfect guy to get that going right here. See if he can break out of his slump for Mike Trout and cover one of these pitches from Samardzija.
Halos with 2 solo home runs. Monday's game last night, 2 home runs in the first inning. Cole and Pujols. Trout looks at a strike. Trout 3 for 9 in his career against Samardzija. A couple of RBIs. struggled in the month of August, hitting just .294 overall now, and .333 home runs. An amazing number, 333 home runs.
Yeah,
33 home runs.
That'd be pretty solid.
I just added the extra 3. Think about the third inning when we get food.
That would pretty much put you in the Hall of Fame with 1 year, don't you think?
I would go ahead and shut it down. At his age, why not?
You'll as good as it gets.
Guaranteed glue. 1-1. This is ripped into center field. A 2-out single went down and got that fastball.
Looked like he's closed his stance a little bit once again. He's made that adjustment just a few games ago, a little more of an open stand, closed a little bit more so. I think middle part of the field. Gets that foot down. A pretty good pitch from Zamarjian, goes right back up the middle. And that's the conversation I had today with Don Baylor, Dave Hansen, about what they want to see from Trout is get back to that approach up the middle, where you see most of his home runs, a lot of them center field to right center field. A couple ground balls pulled foul last night. Never really see that, and some late swings to right field of late for Trout.
And a couple toward third base last night.
Yeah, DiSarcina told me that he's never seen Trout hit a ball where he almost had to field it, or at least try to get out of the way of it, I should say.
Murphy batting in that cleanup spot, serving as the DH tonight with no Pujols in the lineup. Takes a strike on the inside corner. David on the season, 297 home runs, 34 runs batted in, 14 doubles, 1 triple.
Murphy 2 for 6 against Zamarjian in his career. Zamarjian early on, fastball was firm, 95, 96.
Originally in the Cubs system. As everyone knows, a football player and a baseball player at Notre Dame. 5th round pick in 06 by the Cubbies. Pretty good career.
Can you imagine if you were a defensive back trying to cover him or try to tackle him?
I think he picked the right career as far as longevity.
Yeah, you can walk around a little bit better at the end of your career.
That'll even up the count. Check that at 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Nice job by Flowers keeping that in front, anticipating something in the dirt ahead of the count. 0-2. The pitcher's going to expand the strike zone. Doesn't allow Mike Trout to advance in his scoring position.
2-out single for Trout, standing at first base. Weaver got out of a 1st and 3rd 1-out situation at the top of the 1st. Murphy strikes out swinging, and the inning is over. 1 complete here at the Big A, and we're scoreless.
Up late in the game, we'll check out the big news from around the majors on the Cardinals Jr. Sports Update. Texas getting a big starting pitcher back today, and a certain team in need of a second baseman still unable to play well up in the Bay Area.
Ramirez, Sanchez, and Flowers for Chicago here in the second. A couple of strikeouts for Weaver in the first inning. There is a shortstop. 238 average, 8 home runs, 45 runs batted in. Sox on the year 10th in average, 12th in home runs, 15th in runs scored. Good breaking ball.
It's a solid slider, tight rotation. Get a good view of that pitch from our angle.
Oh, so tantalizing again.
67 mile an hour off speed curveball.
Fastball lifted in the air. Shallow center field. Trout coming in, calls off Ibar. There's out number one. And Fox Sports Supports is proud to team up with Boys and Girls Club of America. Boys and Girls Club help young people to reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible citizens through programs that promote character and leadership, education, healthy lifestyles, and more. For more info, just visit foxsportssupports.com.
That fastball that gets that pop-up was 86. Very important pitch for Weaver, because it allows him to be able to spot that fastball enough to make the hitters aware of the fastball, then go off speed.
Sanchez switch hitting second baseman. 232 average, 3 home runs, 18 runs batted in. 1 for 3 last night with a single and a run scored. Doesn't like that call. State of Demuth, by the way, calling the balls and strikes tonight. Mike Estabrook at first, Ed Hickox at second, Paul Nart. Malkop over at third.
Is that 1 or 2?
They shouldn't have made 2. 1 I liked. That was my kids' review.
That's, oh, I thought they liked it, both of them.
They were just being nice. Popped him up. Giavatello all by himself. 2 down. Fans, this broadcast of Angels baseball being broadcast on AFN, the American Forces Network, broadcasting the U.S. Armed Forces serving around the world on land and on ships at sea. We welcome you to our broadcast, and as always, we thank you for your continued service. Two outs, nobody on, and Tyler Flowers coming up. We were talking about this before the game today. Talking about Weaver and the off-speed stuff and the pitch that he's become here of late. And there are times that early on in a game, I'll give you an example. Go back to the first inning, a couple of hits, 1 off his body, first and third. If he gives up a run or 2, he's a high-intensity guy, and he allows it to bother him, and it festers a little bit. At the times he's able to put that behind him, and all of a sudden gets the feel for the breaking pitch, he becomes a very good pitcher. Even if he gives up a run in that first inning.
Yeah, you don't, especially now in this part of his career, you don't want to force yourself. You know, you're as competitive as he is. You don't want to rear back and try to throw a harder fastball because it becomes a hittable fastball. Same thing with his slider or curveball. The harder those pitches are, the better they're going to be hit.
This one out toward right, playable for Cole. Weaver with a 1-2-3 second. We will head to the bottom of the second, still scoreless. The Diamond Club here at the Big A enjoying a nice night. Dennis Gilbert stopped by. We even get celebrities stopping by.
Dennis Go Gilbert.
I think he made a wrong turn. He was supposed to be in Dodger Stadium. He's always in Dodger Stadium.
He's in a suit. I know that. Always.
Obviously, Weaver here in the early going. Good off-speed pitches for him.
Yeah, I mean, his curveball's been good changeup too, but his slider so far, especially against the right-handed batters, has been very, very solid. 75, 76, but that tight rotation on the slider, very important for Weave.
Crone, Ibar, and DeJesus here against Jeff Samardzija. First one in at the knees. CJ hitting .271, 9 home runs, 27 RBIs, getting the start at first tonight. Wore the collar last night, 0 for 4 with 3 fly ball outs. Just missed one out towards center. A couple of very good off-speed pitches for Samardzija, the first picking up the 2 strikeouts.
Yeah, when he has that split finger fastball going in, his slider or cut fastball, very difficult to square up.
Dribbler foul. 1 and 2. Lefties have hit him. The .277 batting average this year's righties at .263.
We were talking about CJ Crone on the pregame show about getting an opportunity to play against righties and lefties. This is a difficult pitcher to face for him right now, especially the stuff that Samardzija has. And you have to be patient against Samardzija. He will make some mistakes. He's given up 20 home runs this season, 14 mentioned earlier against left-handed batters, but also 6 against right-handed batters.
That is smoked to the right side. Good piece of hitting by CJ, and a leadoff single to start the second.
What a perfect swing. It was a fastball. It was on the inner half and down, but he stayed back, let that baseball travel a little bit longer. Tried to turn over that 2-seam fastball, stays back and drives that ball very well to right field. Stays back, the foot is down, and then the swing path allows him to get that bat in the barrel out enough to be able to shoot that ball to the right side of the infield for a base hit.
Is that not his natural swing path? His idea of hitting should be center to right center field.
Yeah, because he's strong enough. No ballpark's going to hold him out, keep him in the ballpark in the alleys. I mean, he'll hit his home runs, but you want him to be a doubles machine like we talked about so often that we saw in Tempe.
Fastball up and in.
That's a perfect swing, so eventually he's going to go away from the fastball inside. He's going to get something out over the plate. And when he gets his arms extended, that's when you can hit that ball out to left center field or even center field for a home run for CJ Crone. That's a perfect swing.
Ibar hitting .269, a couple of home runs, 35 runs batted in. They'll check in on CJ. That's twice in this series they've checked in on CJ at first base. Must be something special in the scouting report.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a slightly different scouting report. But I think what they're trying, Robin Ventura is trying to think in terms of Mike Scioscia, because the offense hasn't been on all cylinders, thinking hit and run potentially, trying to keep him close enough. If a swing and miss is made by Ibar, then get him second.
Yeah, last night 5 runs, but just 5 hits for the Angels. Prior to the homestand, the Angels weren't hitting the long ball. That's as we've talked about a couple of times this year, a pretty deadly combination. You're not getting hits and you're not hitting the ball out of the ballpark. Tough to score runs that way, especially if you're not
a running team.
You're not a running team, or haven't been a running team. Downstairs, and that is blocked nicely by Flowers. 2 balls and a strike.
Well, these are those certain counts where Mike Scioscia is comfortable putting a hit and run, even though with no outs. CJ Crone just 1 stolen base on the season, but you have trust in Eric Ibar to put the ball on the ground if you do put a hit and run on.
Cabrera in left, playing shallow and a little bit toward the line. Big alley at left center field.
Well, it's amazing. Even when Albert's not in the game, he's sitting down there at the corner of the dugout talking with Mike Trout, telling him what to look for. Because I'll tell you, that last at bat for Trout was very impressive too, because he stayed back and used the middle of the field. Wasn't late on a pitch. and invaluable information that Albert gives. Even though he's not in the game, that conversation could end up winning the game with Mike Trout's one swing.
Cron takes off. Ibar fouls it back. The old hit and run.
And Robin Ventura was guessing right, trying to keep CJ Cron close. Ventura, one of the good guys in this game, no question. A very good third baseman, great fielding third baseman. Loved to hit grand slams himself. Alex Rodriguez yesterday would hit his 25th career grand slam, which is the MLB record.
Upstairs, full count.
Full count, first full count for Zamarjit. Does Mike Scioscia have CJ Cron going now?
David DeJesus on deck. Cron takes off. Ibar hits one towards short. Off the glove of Ramirez. And into left center. Cron keeps on running. Ends up at third. Ibar stays at first. And the Angels, runners at the corners with nobody on. DeJesus coming up.
I really like that play by Scioscia putting that on. That's the trust that Eric Ibar is going to shorten up the swing. He's going to try to make contact. Hits that ball well. And because Ramirez is covering the base because he's moving, he's unable to get back. He just deflects it off the glove as CJ Cron did not only get the second but also go all the way over to third base. If he's in his normal position and Cron's not going, that's a double play ball.
Halos last night 1 for 4 with men in scoring position. Infield back looking for the double play ball. Saladino, third baseman, just about even with the grass. DeJesus at .238 average overall, 5 home runs, 28 RBIs. Checking on Eric. David playing his 16th game with the Angels. Guyber a little slow to get up there. And in those 15 games for DeJesus, 5 for 41.
Flowers has only thrown out a little over 10% of would-be base stealers this year.
DeJesus 0 for 3 in his career against Samardzija. And it's certainly a much slower pace, tempo for Samardzija compared to John Danks. But then again, that's not saying a whole lot because everyone is slower than Danks, Burley, those type of guys. There's John Danks. Took the loss last night. Garrett Richards picked up the win. Garrett's 12th. Ibar takes off and DeJesus fouls it off. Almost a defensive swing there.
That looked like that was a straight steal.
Yeah.
Sometimes you swing just to, you're not trying to make contact, just give that catcher a different look. But Ibar had a great jump. Samardzija's allowed 10 stolen bases in 14 attempts. But like I said, Flowers, and you can see that conversation. It looked like Mike Scioscia's looking and saying, that's a straight steal.
Right. You're ahead of the count. Why are you even swinging? And if you are going to swing, swing.
And it's out of the strike zone, too.
Mm-hmm.
Now, hit and run on, you have to swing. You have to protect. But the way Eric went straight through the base, that was not a hit and run.
Single by Cron, followed by a single off the bat of Eric Ibar. First and third, nobody out. DeJesus pulls it foul. This one off the screen.
Jesus, a career .260 hitter against Chicago with 44 RBI. Looking to add on that RBI total right now.
Two balls, two strikes. Eric hasn't even bluffed over at first base. Might not be a bad count to go on here.
Especially on a 2-2 count, you still, as a pitcher, you have options more than likely. 3-2, you're going to get a fastball, an easier catch and throw pitch for Flowers. 2-2, you might see a break ball anyhow, potentially in the dirt.
Doesn't go. That's in the dirt. Blocked by Flowers. Now Ibar takes off. Great read. And he will take second base. Imagine they'll call that a wild pitch.
Secondary lead, and then he sees that baseball in the dirt and quickly goes. Good reaction. Now with two guys in scoring position for DeJesus. Infield back, a ground ball. The shortstop or second base results in a run. Base hit probably gives you two.
Infield just looking for the out. Playing back. 3-2. And he walked him. Nice dig again by Flowers. So they're loaded up. Carlos Perez.
The one number, the telling number for Zamarja this year, with no one on base, batting average 242. But with runners on, 314.
That's a product of?
He's pitching from the stretch, not able to get as comfortable and not staying back as long as he would be when he's pitching from the full windup.
The hitter's hitting an even 500 against him with the bases loaded. 4 for 8. Nobody out. Cron at third, Ibar at second, DeJesus at first. First one to Perez, down the line, foul. Right away looking to punch one out to right.
That's when Carlos is at his best with his swing. That level swing, thinking middle to right center field, right field. Not thinking in terms of trying to pull the ball. He can still pull a baseball, especially if it's an all-speed pitch on the inner half of the plate. But think fastball, look away, and drive the ball to right center field.
Pulled the double last night into the left field corner. 1 for 3. That's in tight. 1 ball, 1 strike. 19 pitches already thrown by Zamarja here in the second. Down and away.
That's a pretty close pitch, and Zamarja's not real happy not getting that call. Talk about two high-energy pitchers. Especially when you throw a pitch you think you made a perfect pitch, don't get the call. Now if you're Carlos Perez, you look for something middle of the plate right now. Zamarja not real happy not getting that pitch called. More apt to make a mistake.
There's the 2-1. That is out toward shallow center field. Sanchez will make the catch. Ran that pitch in on the hands, and it's the first down of the inning. Bases remain loaded with 1 out now. Coward coming up. Caleb Coward's parents in attendance. His mom, Tammy, in the white blouse. Dad, Renee, the red shirt. Over here from Georgia.
How great is this feeling must be for them at this moment.
Caleb made his major league debut last night. Ended up going 0 for 3. Switch hitter in from the left side. Cuts through the first one. At AAA this year against right-handed pitching, a .333 average. 5 home runs, 39 runs batted in, 162 at-bats. Chases a high fastball, fouls it off. No balls, 2 strikes.
Talking to him even yesterday, even into today, just important for him. Just try to slow the game down. As a youngster, getting your opportunity here at the major league level, everything's at such a quick pace. You just have to try to slow it down. Remember what got you here with your swing.
And it goes down swinging on a high fastball. 2 outs. So it'll be up to Johnny Giavitello.
97-mile-an-hour fastball starts on the inside corner and runs back out over the plate. A firm fastball upstairs, very difficult to catch up to that at 97.
Hoping for the old 2-out letdown here. Flowers out to talk things over. Johnny struck out in the first. He's 0 for 1. 3 punch outs now for Samardzija. Halo's in jeopardy of loading the bases with nobody out and leaving them loaded. To Johnny's numbers this year. It's upstairs.
Overthrown fastball there by Samardzija at 98. Giavitello hitting .313 with runners on, much better than it is with no one on base.
Remember, too many guys pitching the way he does, the way he kind of kicks that leg forward after.
It's very difficult to be consistent with your mechanics when you do that. But he's gifted right now with a very strong shoulder to be able to still get to that same release point. Not easy as those innings and pitches pile up later in your career.
Off the plate, 2 balls, no strikes.
Because he uses his arm quite a bit. And when you fly open like that as a pitcher, we can really get a good angle down here. That front shoulder opening up. It's all arm strength to create that velocity. So on 43 pitches, 26 here in this inning alone. Now if I'm Giavitello, I'm looking right in a certain zone. Otherwise, force him to throw me a strike.
Johnny hits one out towards center field. This one chasing Adam Edenback, still racing back and on the track. He'll make the catch. Giavitello gave it a ride, but it stays in the yard, and the Angels leave them loaded. 2 complete. We're still scoreless. For the Angels, blown opportunity.
Ah, perfect.
Whoa, wait a second. What do we got here? Look at those nachos.
Yes.
Moscow Mule for me?
Yes.
I say yes.
Yes, you do.
Absolutely.
This is a pretty good
Gooby,
right
how'd
here.
you know?
Hey, I know everything.
That is my drink.
Yes.
Look at the helmet full of nachos there.
Oh, that is perfect.
Yeah, just go ahead and put that on Gooby's lap.
Yes, yes. By all means, do so.
Yeah, I like these mugs. They might not see
no,
these mugs.
There's no way they're making its way back.
Absolutely not. 9-1-2, Saladino, Eaton, and Abreu. gonna have some of those nachos?
Oh, there's no question.
It's like guacamole.
Guacamole.
Pico de gallo, some steak.
Yes.
Swing and a miss by Saladino, and there's out number one. Third strikeout for Weaver. And you really, if you're the starting pitcher, in this case Jared Weaver, you're on the dugout watching your team load him up, not get any runs. You got to come out there and say, all right, I got to throw up a goose egg here.
Yeah, there's no question, because that momentum really shifts towards the White Sox, especially after having bases loaded, no outs, unable to score. That's why it's perfect to have the veteran, the competitor, Weave go out to the mound and gets a strikeout the very first batter. You got to keep that momentum on your side as far as the Angels.
Eden with the infield base hit in the first. Stranded at third base. Caught the outside corner. You can't keep score.
No.
You can't keep score until you're done eating them.
Oh, I'm going to crush it shortly. There's no question.
Hey, by the way, this gentleman back here, since we're down here at the Diamond Club, go ahead and put us on camera here. This is the infamous Norm Peters.
Yes.
That is our statistician.
Yes.
Yeah. No truth to the rumor that there was 3 tablets that Moses had and he dropped the third.
One of them.
No. No truth at all.
It's a rumor.
That is a rumor. Eaton with a swing and a miss. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Norm does a great job. Stats for us, among other things. Abreu on deck. 2 balls, 2 strikes here on Eaton. The changeup got him looking. Down goes Eaton. Back-to-back strikeouts for Weaver.
And time for Lowe's never stop improving. Speaking of Weaver and the starting staff for the Halos under Mike Butcher, 2013 the starters as far as ERA 11th, last year 6th. This season the starters for Mike Butcher for the Angels 3rd in the American League as far as ranking in ERA. They've done an outstanding job considering Jared Weaver's missed a lot of time. You have C.J. Wilson out now on the disabled list, yet the staff has been very, very good.
Abreu looks at strike one. White Sox first baseman struck out in the first.
Richards picked up his 12th win last night. Andrew Heaney has been excellent.
As they walk it back, maybe saw a little crack in the bat. He will grab some new lumber.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with Mike Sochi and even Terry Smith today about the starting staff, because I was telling them what we're going to talk about during the game as far as ERA amongst the starters. And Terry was saying, well, look at the numbers for Weaver this year compared to last year where he was 18-game winner. There's 4 wins so far. Matt Shoemaker down as far as his win totals. C.J. Wilson down as far as his win total, now on the disabled list. Yet Hector Santiago has been unbelievable, the all-star. Andrew Heaney we mentioned, and of course Garrett getting back to where he was last season. Tropiano, who's pitching tomorrow night, has done a solid job. So it's the guys that have been able to mix and match, but the starting rotation certainly been solid. 3rd best as far as the ERA in the American League.
Slider from Weaver misses down and away. It's 1-2. Overall, the Angels 5th in the American League and earned run average as a staff 3.67. Breaking pitch, and that is lined toward Giavatello in the 1-2-3 inning for Weaver. There's the old shutdown that you needed there. As we head to the bottom of the 3rd, Calhoun, Trout, and Murphy coming up for the Halos. Diamond Club, you kind of forgot that we're got to do a game.
Is there a game?
There is a game.
There's a game going on at some point.
What can the Angels do here in this bottom of the third? You saw Weaver go out there, give you a 1-2-3 inning. Maybe try to turn that momentum back on your side.
Well, you have the right part of the order to do some damage early on. I think if you're Cole's very good as far as that first or second pitch and doing some damage. I'm looking fastball first pitch and see if I can hit a ball in the alley.
Calhoun trouted Murphy. Facing Jeff Samardzija. 3 strikeouts, 1 walk. Down the line, and that will be fair. Into the corner. A double for Cole Calhoun, his 21st of the year, and the Angels have a man in scoring position.
Well, we asked for a ball down the line, a double, extra base hit. Cole does it. That's what you got to try to do. You had to expend so much energy if you're Samardzija to get through that last inning, and he made a lot of quality pitches to get through that last inning, and with no damage done. So then as a hitter right now, you look quick in the at-bats to do damage back because he might not have that same focus he had to finish off that last inning.
There's Stroud, a single to center. His first at bat. Caught the inside corner, evens the count at 1 ball, 1 strike. A lot of pitches thrown by Samardzija, but he was able to work out of it after walking to Jesus to load the bases. Perez popped out. Caleb Coward struck out, and then Giavotella deep drive, but it was caught at the walls. This went down the line and foul. Hooking that breaking pitch.
Slider. And he's got to think in terms of what he did his last at bat. That line drive right back up the middle. And that pitch, when he's on his game, that's where he's hitting that ball up the middle. Because it was down, out over the plate. Now Samardzija may try a fastball up and in on him. It's going to may force him to pull the ball.
And he misses downstairs.
So twice now, at least in this game, Flowers is set up for a high fastball up and in, and he's missed. And that's a very difficult one for a catcher. You're looking for a high fastball up and in against a right-handed batter, and he's missed considerably down.
And you're setting up, anticipating that.
And a fastball, so that means it's coming in 97, 98, and then you have to react to try to knock that ball down. Not easy to do as a catcher.
Borderline pitch could have gone either way. Robin wanted it. Full count now. Third full count for Samardzija. David Murphy on deck. Calhoun a leadoff double. Trout strikes out swinging. Took something off. 1 out. Angel fans, it's time for you to tweet us your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag WestDataStrongFan. You just might see yourself in an upcoming Angels broadcast. It's brought to you by T-Mobile. 1 down. Halos now 0 for 4 with scoring position tonight. Men in scoring position. Here's Murphy, who struck out to end the first. downstairs. 2 balls and 1 strike. 2 hits for Chicago, 4 for the Angels, but yet still scoreless here in the 3rd.
Boy, just watching Samardzija throw the baseball, he throws that glove at you, and then the front shoulder opens up. What a few distractions as a hitter to try to see the baseball.
Two balls, 2 strikes. TJ Crone on deck. Murphy skies went out toward left center. Eaton drifting over is there. Cole wants the tag. Ends up at third base, throw off line.
It's not a bad idea, especially when you've seen how many pitches Samardzija's thrown in the dirt so far in this game. Clearly he's on the bases. Eaton catches the baseball, but Eaton's got a good throwing arm. 8 outfield assists. A little bit off the line there. Cole able to get to third base. And you've taken potentially that split finger fastball or slider away from Samardzija in the dirt now.
TJ 1 for 1 with a base hit to right. Eventually stranded at third. Calhoun standing at third, leadoff double for him. Up that high fastball again.
A lot of fastballs, 95, 96, 97, upper part of the strike zone. You get away with that sometimes, but if that comes down just a little bit lower in the strike zone, that's when it gets squared up. His best fastball so far, 98. His slowest pitch, an 85.
Foul back. Couple of rows over. These you actually have to follow.
Yes. The ricochets.
Into the booth behind us. You know, hopefully it doesn't hit Norm, and that's it. Here, ricochet.
Yep.
Cal remains at 0-2. Crone reaching for this one. Saladino over to third. Double clutch, and they still got him. 3 complete here at the Big A. Still scoreless.
back on the mound. Face Melky Cabrera to lead off this 4th inning. Weaver so far has been outstanding. 3 innings pitches, 2 hits, no walks, 4 punch-outs in this game. Just 41 pitches thrown for Weave at this point. His slider's been solid, curveball outstanding, changeup good, and velo on the fastball good enough to get the hitters out in front on his fastball.
Melky Cabrera looking at a strike to lead off this 4th inning. Cabrera, Garcia, and Shuck. 4 strikeouts, no walks. Melky with a base hit up the middle. Little cue shot behind Coward. He backs up, makes the catch. Got to chalk the bat on that one.
Yeah, that's 67-mile-an-hour curveball.
All right, Gooby, you crushed the nachos, so we sent out for some more food here.
The main course.
Oh,
the burger.
Got a pork chop?
Yes.
Pork chop and applesauce.
Thank you.
Whoa.
I'll see you in a little bit.
What's this right here?
That is amazing.
Yeah, I think I'm going to crush this.
Yeah, French fries, that's my weakness. This burger looks outstanding.
Yeah. Oh, mashed potatoes we got with some bacon on it.
Oh. Well, I might just take everything at this point. This is outstanding.
This one lifted out toward left. Playable for DeJesus. 2 down.
Tell you what, this burger is unbelievable, by the way.
I'm sorry, what were you saying? I was looking at that pork chop. My bad. Is there a game going on?
We've's helping us out. A couple pop-ups so far.
Yeah.
He said, I'm going to have a quick inning for you guys.
Can you
can
eat that in a commercial break? Not the fries, the burger. Can you do that? What is it, 2 minutes? Well, 2 minutes? You could do it, right? Will you try? I think folks at home want to see that.
No.
You didn't hula for the folks earlier this year.
Only if you eat the entire pork chop yourself.
Well, I don't know about the entire pork chop. I can do a little damage to it. Chase it with the Moscow Mule.
Yes.
Man, that looks good.
It does.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
I'm sure Norm will be pawing at it later on. 2 balls, no strikes. JB 0 for 1. Fly ball to center in the first.
Top averages by rookies in Angel history. Mike Trout at the top. JB Shuck right there too in that list. Got an outstanding rookie season.
Carney Lansford.
Carney, yes.
He wasn't high intensity at all, was he?
I actually had a strikeout against him when I actually hit him in the chest with a fastball. And I felt bad. I was like, and he just walked right back to the dugout.
Yeah.
He was up there ready to go, like you said, and he swings. And as a pitcher, wow, that's 2 for the price of 1. The strikeout and a hit by pitch. And you get the out.
You didn't pump your fist or anything?
No, he's too strong. I wanted to be happy to see he went back to the dugout.
Shuck, body out a walk, looks at a strike. It's a full count. Tenth straight retired by Weaver since the single by Melky in the first inning. First full count tonight. There's Ben. Breaking pitch. And he pulls this one past Giavatello. It's a base hit. Waited back enough on that one. Good contact with it. 3rd hit allowed by Weaver.
Ocasio was pretty good too. Like you said, the key was staying back. Even though his front hip is opening up, he's going forward. He kept his hands back enough to be able to get that baseball through the infield on the line.
Here's Ramirez, the shortstop, hit a fly ball to center. 2nd inning at bat. Astros tied things up in the bottom of the 9th against the Rays. That game still tied at 2.
It's in the 11th inning now. Houston's been very good at home.
But Dallas Keuchel started that game, right? 0-1 count on Ramirez. Tigers all over the Cubs, 12-6. Second time they've gotten to John Lester this year. Kansas City leading Cincinnati 4-3.
And a long rain delay there in Cincinnati.
Played 13 innings last night. Everything else a final. No balls, 2 strikes.
Shuck with 4 stolen bases, has been caught 3 times. These are those counts. It's worth it to take a shot, anticipating something off speed. Even if Ramirez or if Shuck is thrown out, you give Ramirez a fresh at bat next inning. Went high fastball. A lot of times when Weaver goes high fastball, come right back with a curveball that starts at that same plane and then drops into the dirt.
Turn to first, JB back.
And we get a great angle right there. Carlos Perez is setting up inside. That's by design, that throw over the first base. So just in case Alexi Ramirez is looking back at location, he was setting up in just to make him think and make aware of he might go back inside with a fastball, but I would be surprised if he does that.
There's the 1-2. Slider almost got him to chase. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Two-out single by J.B. Shuck. Standing at first base. Ramirez with a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Sanchez on deck. Runner goes. Throw is not in time. Stolen base for J.B.
Had a pretty good sized jump. See him get 3 or 4 steps before that pitch is delivered. Perez with a firm throw to second base. Quick on transfer, but that was a base stolen by Shuck against Weaver.
Picked the right pitch too, off speed.
Well, these are the bats where you look at it from our angle. That's where you think Cole maybe take a step or 2 in. This is where Ramirez tries to punch the ball in the right field.
Breaking pitch cued off the end of the bat, right back to Weaver. A lot of spin on that one. And that 2-out single, stranded in scoring position. Went to the bottom of the 4th. Ibar to Jesus and Perez coming up for the Angels. Get started, Gooby.
Oh, yeah.
We're scoreless. Angels baseball is brought to you by the Dodge Charger with an EPA estimated 31 highway miles per gallon. This car was made for driving in California. Visit Dodge.com. By AT&T Uverse. More live channels on the go than cable.
And by Subaru. Test drive the all-new 2015 Subaru Forester or go to Subaru.com to learn more.
Bottom of the fourth inning, still no score. Ibar, DeJesus, and Perez coming up for the Angels to face Jeff Samardzija.
That burger is incredible, by the way.
Pork chop's pretty good.
Yes.
Got one bite in. Got a savor of pork chop.
Yes.
Ibar bouncing one foul. Eric 1 for 1 with a base hit in the second. A couple of very good opportunities for the Angels to put runs on the board, just have not taken advantage of it. Bases loaded, nobody out in the second. A leadoff double in the third. Cole stranded at third base. Angels 0 for 6 so far tonight. Back up the middle. Ramirez to his left has it. Spin move. Fires the first. Throws it wildly. Eric will stay at first as the ball stays in play.
Ramirez with good range and a strong throwing arm, but an off-balance throw away from Abreu. Infield hit for Ibar.
Never an easy play for the shortstop when you got that much momentum going to your left. Spin around and throw a strike.
Very fortunate enough that didn't go in the dugout.
David DeJesus with a walk. His first plate appearance, and no official at bat for him. He lifts one out to left. One down. Hey folks, join us tomorrow for Singles Night presented by Big Brothers Big Sisters of Orange County. For only $31, receive a game ticket, Angels Globe Cup admission to a pregame mixer, drink specials, and a chance to meet your match. For more info and purchase your tickets, just go to angels.com/singles. Carlos Perez up. Popped out his first time up.
No doubt Robin Ventura is sensing a potential hit and run here. With Ibar first, Perez at the plate.
Ibar takes off. The hit and run is on. This one fouled back. Carlos was the first down in the second. He just had the bases loaded. Credit Samardzija, though, when he is needed to make a quality pitch, he's made it.
He's been able to go upstairs with his fastball and down below the knees with his off-speed pitches. He has good movement on his fastball, whether it's upstairs or even downstairs.
Ibar started to go, and this one lined towards Ramirez, and it's by him. Ibar will stop at second.
That's one of those ones you're thankful that the hit and run is not on. He's probably maybe going towards covering the base and in position to potentially catch that. And jammed him. We talked about that high intensity of Samardzija. It's one of those ones where you make a quality pitch and you don't get it out on, you never feel good.
Caleb Coward struck out in the second. He's 0 for 1. A couple of men on base.
Keeps going upstairs with that fastball, and he's getting Howard to swing at that pitch. Try to bring that one down, even though it looks inviting upstairs. Samardzija so far in this game has faced 18 batters. 14 times he's thrown the first pitch for a strike.
Caleb, the Angels' first-round pick in 2010, called up before the game yesterday. Back-to-back starts at third. 0-2. Samardzija hasn't messed around with him either. Here it is.
Now if you're Cowart right now, you're thinking of shortening up your swing, trying to put the ball in play.
Foul at the plate. Got a piece of it.
See Flowers setting that target upstairs once again. Every one of those pitches has been upper part of the strike zone. 96, 97 range. Parents looking on, hoping, looking for that hit.
Mom can't look on.
No, my mom never went to any games. She would always go to the church and light candles. She couldn't watch the game.
Ibar at second. They want to pick off. Ramirez heads back. Lays off that one. 1-2. Perez over at first. Caleb chases upstairs, and he goes down swinging for the second time. 2 outs.
Samardzija is staying upstairs with his fastball against Cowart.
Givatella pops it up on the right side. Abreu, Flowers, no one off the top of the dugout.
Again, get back to that swing for Givatella line drive. He hit that ball well last at bat. Center field where Eaton ran it down, but Mike Scioscia wants him to hit that ball on the line. Don't get underneath it. Stay back, think line drives, think middle of the field.
No balls, 2 strikes. Halo so far 0 for 7 with men in scoring position. We're in the 4th. Ibar takes off, so does Perez. Givatella hooks one foul. Out in front. Eric with a pretty good jump.
Very important for Perez to read that right, because they'll throw straight through the second base. Or so they would throw to third.
Can't assume that they're going after the lead runner.
No, I would think that's got to be the conversation with Flowers in the middle infielders. He's going to throw straight to second base. Because as a trail runner, you have to wait to make sure the runner in front of you is going.
Time was called. Givatella tired of waiting. Backs out.
Blake Flowers was setting up again a high fastball.
Johnny reaching for this one, fouls it. Count remains at 0-2.
It's pretty firm cut fastball from Zamarja, 91. He has a cut fastball and a slider to go along with a split finger changeup.
75 pitches. And he is certainly a deliberate worker. He is at his own pace out there. Runners go. Ibar hung up. And safe at third base with a bad throw by Samardzija.
That was the old Rick Sutcliffe move.
Went on first movement. The bad throw, and Ibar just kept on going.
Because Saladino wasn't even in position to be at third base at that point. Zamardzija had time. But he just threw right to the base or towards the base. And the hand in there clearly by Ibar. It's credited with a stolen base.
Both guys.
Perez now with 2 stolen bases on the season. Ibar with 10 now.
Hope that something like that can get him upset enough to where he makes a mistake here against Shivatella. Ground ball weakly hit to second. Those are both done. Halos leave 2 more in scoring position. We'll head to the 5th, still scoreless. Saladino coming up, bottom third of the order for the Chicago White Sox. We'll take a look at the upcoming schedule. That's tomorrow night's game, the finale of this 4-game set. Jose Quintana, the lefty, on the mound for Chicago. Nick Tropiano has been up a couple of times this year, made a couple of starts. He is going for the Halos tomorrow.
Yeah, Quintana is a very good pitcher. He has a very good changeup himself. ERA solid. The win-loss record 6-10, but very good ERA, 3.62. Tropiano is throwing the ball very well in his couple of starts. Good fastball command for him. Also, slider's been very good, and changeup, and there's a lot of strikes.
This, of course, a 4-game series, and the Toronto Blue Jays in town. A 3-game set beginning on Friday. Jared Weaver, 56 pitches so far. 4 punch outs, no walks. 3 hits allowed, 3 singles. 2 in the first, 1 in the 4th. Sanchez looks at the slow breaking ball for a strike. Sox second baseman, 0 for 1. He popped out to Giavatello in the second. 57 pitches, 39 strikes for Jared. Good off speed.
Change up 73. 5-0-2 counts in the game for Weaver. 58 pitches, 40 strikes.
Down it in.
He's trying to turn into that one.
Doesn't want to face the changeup or the curveball anymore. This one out toward left center field, hit well. That is going to split the outfielders. Sanchez on his way to second. Trout cuts it off before it hits the wall. It's a leadoff double. 17th of the season.
That changeup was upstairs. Perez setting up that target down, but changeup down would have been a perfect pitch, but it was elevated, and he went with the pitch and split the alley for a double. His 17th of the season. The White Sox right away with a runner in scoring position with no outs.
White Sox 0 for 3 tonight so far with men in scoring position. There's Tyler Flowers. Skied one to Calhoun to end the seconds. He's 0 for 1. Snap throw to second. High throw, and Ibar's able to glove it. And not surprised at all to see Flowers squaring here.
A quick back pick, high throw. Ibar tried to sell it. It was in the outfield. Just in case, applied a tag.
Puts one on the third base side. Coward will field it. Sacrifice advances Sanchez over to third. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Los Angeles Angels and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Angels Baseball LP.
Looks like the Angels are going to bring their infield in.
Makes sense considering they haven't been able to solve Jeff Samardzija tonight. The bevy of opportunities. Cued on the first base side. Weaver has it, looks back. Sanchez flips it over to first. Got him. Nice play by Jared Weaver.
It was, because I think the reaction by him right away was they're going to go on contact. He's so used to seeing his club do that. Still able to spin around. It's good having a big target over there in C.J. Cron.
It's like a spinning top out there.
If you're going on contact, that would have been a very difficult throw for Weaver to throw home, especially with the spin on the baseball.
Unfortunately, it was Cron getting back to the bag at first. Giavitello, that ball is over his head. So 2 outs and a man at third. Top of the order, Adam Eaton now stepping up.
I've seen Eaton before in these situations with 2 outs still try and think in terms of a drag bunt or push bunt.
Angels thinking the same thing with Cron and Coward playing in at first and third respectively. This one's hit to second. Jumped up on Giavitello, and Weaver works out of it. Lead off double, stranded at third. We'll head to the bottom of the 5th. Calhoun, Trout, and Murphy coming up. Still no score. Doubleheader action returns to Fox Sports 1 this Saturday. First, it's the Giants and Pirates looking to improve their playoff chances. Then the Rangers take on the Tigers. Coverage begins at 12:30 Pacific on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Cole Calhoun to lead things off. There we are. The Diamond Club.
We're trying to get our arms going to send some people home now.
Cole sounded like he broke his bat on the roller. He'll get a new bat. 0-1 count. Cole led off the third inning with a double and eventually stranded at third base. '21st double of the year for Calhoun.
Hyundai key for this game. Keep the spirit alive. Two very well played games for the Angels in the first two of this 4-game set against Chicago. Some great pitching, timely hitting. Pitching has been great for Weaver tonight. Now looking for that timely hitting.
Albert getting the day off. Night off. Murphy serving as a DH. '78 pitches thrown by Samardzija. It's 5 strikeouts, no walks. Pardon me, 1 walk. That was in the second. Oh, it got by Flowers. That hit Danny DeMuth.
The way he reacted, it looked like. Flowers is a pretty big target.
Cole reaching for this one. Abreu has it. Flips it to Samardzija. They get the out. Hey fans, the Angels host the Blue Jays. We were just pointing that out on Friday at 7:05. Fans in attendance will receive a snapback hat courtesy of St. Joseph Hotel. While supplies last, get your tickets by visiting the Angel Stadium ticket office or online at angels.com.
I'm getting ready for that snapback hat.
Otherwise known as an adjustable cap, right?
Oh, is that what it is?
I would imagine. Snapback? Or maybe that's one of those elastic ones that actually snap back.
Yes, could be. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it.
Trout 1 for 2, a single and a strikeout. Certainly does not mind hitting behind in the count. It's worked out well for him to start his career. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Yeah, I mentioned that last night. Swings at the first pitch about maybe 10% of his at-bats. I was watching the Minnesota Twins game against New York today. Joe Mauer actually swung at the first pitch against Nathan Eovaldi, who was throwing 100 today.
Saw that.
Wow. He even threw like a get-over 3-1 fastball at 99. He was perfect through 5 innings for the Yankees today. Yankees ended up winning that game against Minnesota.
Game in Houston still tied at 2 in the bottom of the 12th. Trout pulls it foul. Murphy on deck. Look at that big leg kick to finish too.
And he puts everything into each pitch. Strong shoulders. That one at 97.
There's 3-2. And he draws the walk. Stayed away. It was off the plate. Second free pass issued by Samardzija. And if we've seen other guys take off against Samardzija, Trout's got to do something.
You have to. Samardzija's made some really good pitches with guys in scoring position, but with guys on the move, maybe. Hey, when in a gap, you can score all the way from first base, but that speed that Trout has if you're on the move. So far, even from this angle right here, it's only been a few times he's done this. But Samardzija, every time he's thrown the first base, he looks towards third base first and then throws over the first base. And that's something you can look for at the back of the head as a base runner, and then you go. Now he's looking towards home, and then he's going to deliver the baseball home. So that's the things you try to look for as a base runner. Reason why I know that, I fell into that kind of pattern before when I was in the stretch.
You don't realize it.
No, until somebody tells you down the road. Because you look over at third thinking, okay, oh, he doesn't think I'm throwing over. Then you throw over the first base. Or if you're looking at home or over at first, then you throw home. And that time he did look towards home and threw over. So you just look for certain patterns, certain times where you can get a better opportunity to steal a base. There's times where you hold the baseball in your glove a little bit different when you're throwing over the first, when you're delivering home.
Trout 10 stolen bases, been caught 5 times. Murphy breaks his bat. The barrel ends up near second base past Sanchez. A lot of broken bats already in this game.
Certainly contrast in styles in these two pitchers. Fastball, cut fastball, a lot of pitches from Samardzija. That baseball, after they're cutting the action on the fastball, is right on the handle of the bat. Only thing left in that bat for Murphy is the handle itself. And that's a cut fastball. Weaver breaking bats, getting him out in front on his curveball. Been excellent.
One. Trout takes off. Murphy hits one off the hand of Samardzija. David will reach.
And that's one of those situations as a pitcher, you look back behind you, that is going to be an out. When you put your bare hand up and deflect it, results in a base hit. You can see exactly where Ramirez is. He's going to field that one easily, even potentially make it a close play at second. At the very least, you're going to get the out at first. Instead, it's first and second. And you have the sting on your hand from going after this. A high fastball went back up the middle. And then the reaction for Samardzija to use the bare hand. But again, when you pitch, you look back to see where your middle infielders are playing. You know to leave that baseball go. Your normal reaction is to go after it, but know where the guy is placed behind you. That's going to be a routine out.
Infield base hit for Murphy. 2 on, 1 out. And C.J. Cronut. No balls and a strike. CJ 1 for 2, a single to right and a ground ball to third.
Boy, with runners on, he seems to go exclusively with a high fastball. First pitch, strike, high fastball.
Just slider there. 0-2.
Boy, 7 times in this game, Samardzija's been ahead of the count 0-2. He's been throwing a ton of first pitch strikes.
That's fouled back.
That was a mistake. Right down the heart of the plate. Cut fastball. Exact pitch if you're C.J. Cron you want, because that's going into the barrel of your bat to be able to drive. A lot of pitches thrown for Samardzija though in this game. 92. We're into the 5th inning.
Trout at second, Murphy at first. Fouled off. Good lead for Trout at second. Crone goes down swinging. 2 outs.
Who's going to get that big hit for Mike Scioscia's club here tonight? They've had a number of opportunities to score some runs because the margin's been very tough in these situations. But Eric Ibar has already had 2 hits in this game. Both teams, especially the Angels, 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position. Chicago 0 for 5.
Ibar 2 for 2 with a couple of singles. Also picked up a stolen base. Lifts one out to left. Melky moving to his right is there. The Angels leave 2 more on base. 0 for 10 tonight with men in scoring position. 5 complete, still scoreless. Some pork chops and now some Sundays. Rally Monkey Sundays.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Is this heaven?
I need this like I need a hole in my head. Seriously?
This is heaven right now.
It's Field of Dreams?
Yes.
Let me take a bite?
Yes.
Oh, chocolate ice cream?
Yes.
Look good, man. How's that sound on TV?
Yeah. Big Boy did it. Big Boy did it for the Dick Tracy movie.
We got Rally Monkey Toes here, too. We're going to go with the sounds of the game here at the top of the 6th inning.
I just used to try to keep a little bit on my.
Yeah. Keep talking. Good.
My headset right here. I can just keep some for later on in the game, which is always a good thing.
I'm done. Got to run an extra 2 miles tomorrow.
Times 10.
Yeah.
By the way, that is incredible.
That is good.
Oh my, is that good?
That's like a family sharing plan, isn't it?
This whole day has been amazing here.
Yeah. 2, 3, and 4 for the Sox. Abreu, Cabrera, and Garcia.
What a great slider right there. He's anticipating, looking for a fastball. Abreu could not hold up on the swing. The timing has not been there for Abreu. Weaver's done an excellent job at this point, keeping him out in front. The hips are already flying open. He hasn't been able to keep the bat back yet.
Two grounded over to third. Coward has it. One down.
And now it's time for the SoCal Hamburger game summary. Both pitchers have been outstanding at the right times. Amardi with a swing and miss. It's a swing and miss against Trout. A couple punch outs, but Weaver has been just even a little bit better. His command of his fastball good, but his curveball and slider changeup have been consistently good tonight.
Cabrera looks at a strike. Melky 1 for 2 with a base hit in the first. Popped out in the infield his last time up. Weaver 4 strikeouts, no walks, 4 hits allowed. Worked around a leadoff double in the 5th. .71 pitches thrown by Jared. Pardon me, 72. 48 have been strikes. Cron will take this one himself.
So hard for the hitters to stay back against Weaver's slow curveball. That one at 67. .73 pitches thrown for Weave at this point. What a differential, 23-mile-an-hour differential between his best fastball at 86 and his slowest curveball at 63. You mix in low to mid 70s with his changeup, same thing in his slider, and then you have 4 different pitches coming at different speeds.
Garcia, the DH, a strikeout, a fly ball to left. Struck out looking in the first. Game in Houston down the bottom of the 13th inning, tied at 2.
It almost looked like Garcia was looking for something off speed. Late on an 83-mile-an-hour fastball.
Down the line, slicing out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Jammed on a backup slider.
Changeup pulled to third. Coward has it. 1, 2, 3 inning for Weaver. We'll head to the bottom of the 6th, still with no score.
Dodgers lose again at Oakland. It looks like the Dodgers are going to pick up, chase up. They lost 5-2 against the A's. And the Mariners in Dutch versus the Rangers. Derek Holland back on the hill for the Rangers today. First start back from the disabled list. Looked very, very good. Looking for his first win of the season. Had a tight, sharp slider work. Good velocity on his fastball pitch. Very well for Texas today as they win the game 7-2. He went 6 1/3, 2 earned runs allowed. Texas getting back one of their top pitchers to go along with Cole Hamels, make them very, very dangerous here down the stretch.
Jeff Samardzija has kind of been bobbing and weaving, but he has worked his magic when he's needed to. Out of scoring position, the Angels at the start of the day 2.5 back of the Houston Astros. That game in the 13th inning in Houston. Texas won earlier. The Angels needing a victory to stay a game and a half ahead.
Baltimore beat the Mets today, came back.
DeJesus pulls one foul. That one got into the seats quickly. David 0 for 1. Walked in the second inning. Hit a fly ball to left in the fourth. He'll be followed by Carlos Perez and Caleb Cowart. Ground ball towards second. Sanchez has it. One away. And folks, the Angels take on the Blue Jays Saturday. Remember, 6:35 start because of the Angels Hall of Fame induction. Enjoy Angels baseball, then a spectacular postgame fireworks presented by Wells Fargo. Get your tickets at the stadium box office or online.
What a day that's going to be.
Dean Chance, Mike Witt, and Tim Salmon.
And fireworks.
And fireworks. We asked him to stop on by today during our broadcast, and he's kind of blown us off, so I guess that's what happens when you get to become a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he's still writing his speech, he said.
Whatever.
That's what I told him. I said, you're actually writing down a speech?
Is that what he's doing with that dictaphone? Walking around all day?
I think so.
He's upstairs somewhere. Laughing. Not mingling with you minions. Perez takes outside. 2 balls, no strikes. Is he in our booth? Is he hanging out in our booth right now? There he is.
Hey, did he have permission?
He's a Hall of Famer.
Hey, what's up, big time?
Oh, look at those guys.
And Carlos gets into one to deep left field. Cabrera back. That is gone. Big fly for Carlos Perez. 1-0 Angels.
Tell you what, this is the perfection of being down at this angle. His 3rd home run of the season, where you see that baseball off the bat from our angle here, and you can see how that carry gets it over the wall for Carlos Perez, who's done an excellent job behind the plate. But what a swing from Perez. A mistake pitch out over the plate. We talked about that line drive, certain counts, but this count right here, got a pitch out over the plate and hits it out to left center field, which would make Tim Salmon smile up in our booth at this moment.
First home run since May 30th for Carlos. He's got 3 on the season now. That, by the way, was Weaver's last win.
Bring it all together. I like it.
I'm just Ron Burgundy, man, just reading what it says on the screen.
You're just a poet.
Yeah. Coward 0 for 2. A couple of strikeouts in the hole here. No balls, 2 strikes.
Continuing to go upstairs with the fastball.
One ball, 2 strikes. Oh, his family here. It'd be nice to see him get that first knock.
Certainly made some solid defensive plays again tonight. Looking for that base hit.
Goes down swinging, and there's out number 2.
Here's a top-tier play of the game brought to you by Arco. Going back to Carlos Perez's swing. Pitch out. Elevated enough for Carlos to square that baseball up and get out to left center field for his 3rd home run. The season, the only run of the game on that big fly.
Johnny 0 for 3 with a strikeout, a fly ball to center, and a ground ball to second base. One 0. Dribbler foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1-0 Halos. Carlos Perez, second hit of the night, 2 for 3. Johnny shoots one to the right, but it's playable for J.B. Shuck. 3rd out is recorded, but one swing of the bat, and the Angels have a 1-0 lead as we head to the 7th.
What a swing from Carlos. Fastball mistake by Zamarja. Hasn't made many. That was, and Carlos made him pay for it. Big fly, 3rd of the year. Weaver been outstanding through 6. Sliders, curveball, changeup, fastball location. Been solid for Weaver throughout this entire game. His balance has been great. Feels all his pitches, all 4 working so far in this game for Weaver. And now it's time for the driver's seat brought to you by Kia. Looking at those numbers for Weaver. 6 shutout innings, his 4 hits allowed, no walks, which is important for Weaver. 4 punchouts.
Chuck, Ramirez, and Sanchez. 5, 6, and 7 for Chicago. The Angels with action in their bullpen. 79 pitches thrown by Weave. 4 strikeouts, no walks, 4 hits allowed. JB tonight 1 for 2 with a base hit in the 4th inning as Trevor Gott begins to loosen. Ground ball over to first. Foot race and high throw and safe at first base. And as far to his right on a ball slowly hit for C.J. Cron. And so the leadoff man is on board.
Going to get to that baseball. And that's one of those ones you try to go a little bit firmer on the throw and lead your pitcher to the base. Even though you're used to that flip with a high throw, you're trying to find the bag. Chuck able to beat that one to the base.
Mike Butcher's going to come out.
Just to try to get Weave under control.
And a little bit of a late start, because where that ball was hit, you would think, especially as slowly as hit, you got J.B. Shuck running down the line, you have a better chance perhaps of the second baseman fielding that ball. Have your first baseman at the bag.
Exactly, especially when you saw from that angle that we were watching it, that Giavitello was going to be in position. But not a ton of experience at the major league level for C.J. Cron, so you're more apt to go after that baseball because you want anything hit your way. You want to field that.
And something that wasn't hit hard at him either. Slow roller. So man on. Fifth hit now for Chicago. Here's Alexi Ramirez. Fly ball to center in the second inning. Cued one back to Weaver to end the fourth. So he's 0 for 2. A good pitch. Right on the outside corner, 0-1. Oh, 2. Chuck already with a stolen base tonight.
.602 counts for Weaver tonight.
Missing in off the plate. Go back in there, wouldn't you? 1-2. You'd think as a hitter that he might go soft away from you now.
You know, Ramirez is pretty good on an off-speed pitch down and away. Makes pretty good contact, so he's looking away. You can freeze him in.
Shuck leaning over at first base, so Weaver will check in on him. Astros just walked off of the Tampa Bay Rays with Carlos Correa, the hero tonight. So 3-2.
Well, Houston is extremely good at home. Now 42-20.
Change up down low. Nice block by Carlos. I think that walk-off happened with the 2 outs, too.
So far in his 3 starts since coming back from the disabled list, Weaver's thrown 85 pitches, 97 pitches, and so far 85 in this game.
Shuck with a good lead at first base.
We would love to get a ground ball at Eric Ibar right now to get a double play.
Swing and a miss. Down goes Ramirez. 1 down.
Doing a good changeup. Looks like Mike Scioscia may indeed go to the bullpen now.
Well, he's going to have to. Trevor Gott ready to go. I don't think Weaver wants to come out of the game. That's the question. Why? Got a switch hitting second baseman coming up. And with 1 out, Scioscia makes the pitching change. He departs with a 1-0 lead into a nice round of applause. To save you money. Log on to mercuryinsurance.com to get a fast break quote and see how much you can save.
And by Hyundai, the summer clearance is going on now at your Hyundai dealer. Visit buyhyundai.com today.
Top of the seventh, 1-0 Angels with one out and a man at first base. Mike Scioscia takes Jared Weaver out of the ballgame. Just 86 pitches with the light hitting second baseman Carlos Sanchez coming up. Mike Scioscia hands the ball off to Trevor Gott. A little surprised?
Yeah, especially after that last sequence of pitches against Ramirez, which was so solid. But I know in all my conversations with Mike Scioscia about Weaver at this point, coming back from the disabled, he wants to still keep him around that mid-90s range, but still, this 86 pitches thrown, no walks, 5 punch-outs, threw the ball extremely well.
Are in and out, who's in, who's out. Trevor pitching in his 28th game, 2-1 record, a 1.93 ERA. And the first one to Sanchez, a little bit high. Sanchez, a double and a pop-up. So he's 1 for 2. Double to the alley in left center in his last at-bat. That was leading off the 5th inning. 17th double of the year. One ball, one strike.
Certainly a differential in the velocity of the fastball from Gott as compared to the pitches that Weave threw through the entire game, from his curveball, his slider, changeup. But still, the pitches that Weaver threw were outstanding, and especially getting a lot of hitters way out in front.
I'd be curious to see what Mike Scioscia says after the game about taking out Weaver. Obviously, Jared was surprised at the move. I think we're surprised at the move.
Well, we know Weave, he never wants to come out of any game. He can have 190 pitches. He doesn't want to come out of a game.
Chuck takes off. The pitch is upstairs to throw to second, and that is in time. Got him. 2 outs.
With a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, you have a better shot at throwing out Chuck, trying to steal a base. Quick on the transfer. And it was almost like a pitch out because of that part of the play. A quick throw and quick tag. Clearly gets that glove on him before the hand touched the base. Perfect throw.
JB tried to go around the tag and get the side of the base. Sanchez fouls this one back.
That's one of those foul balls we don't want to come over in our direction this way.
No, we've been all right tonight.
So far, so good.
A little sluggish after the Rally Monkey Sunday.
Yeah, we're not going to be moving quite as quick.
2-2. Slightly tardy on that fastball.
See the difference in the swings from going up against Weave and that great curveball and changeup as compared to the fastball, running fastball from Gott at 97.
Full count, Flowers on deck. Ground ball sharply hit past Ibar. So a 2-out single puts a man on, and the catcher coming up.
How big was that throw from Carlos Perez now? Thrown out, JB Shuck at second base. Pretty good piece of hitting. That was a good pitch from Gott. It was downstairs and right back up the middle.
I think the one thing with Trevor, and obviously still just evolving at the major league level here, terrific stuff, good movement on his fastball, but when you look at his stuff, you would think that he's a guy that should pick up some strikeouts. But he hasn't developed yet that breaking ball.
That's the key. You have to be able to throw something with a little wrinkle on it, whether it's a slider or a changeup or even a split finger fastball at some point.
Because you look at his numbers, 28 innings, just 13 strikeouts, 6 walks.
With 97 with movement on the fastball. But as a hitter, you can hit fastballs, even at 97, because that's all you're geared up for.
And again, it's still early, very early in his career.
No doubles defense set up by the outfield.
There's that breaking ball, which slows everything down.
Yeah, we get a great angle down here just to see exactly what he tries to do with his slider. He really slows down his mechanics. You got to think in terms of the grip on the baseball, your slider grip. Throw it exactly like you would throw your fastball. Don't slow down. You will get an occasional swing from a batter, even in the dirt, if it's the same arm angle and the same delivery.
Boy, that's a good pitch at the knees. Missed. 2 balls and a strike. Coward guarding the line at third. Crone holding Sanchez over at first base. A 1-0 Angels lead here in the 7th with 2 outs. Carlos Perez with a home run in the bottom of the 6th. There's action in the White Sox bullpen as well. All Weaver can do is just look on. 3-1 to Flowers. Fouled back. And pretty good hack at a fastball there. Full count of 2 outs. That means Sanchez will get a head start. Ground ball to short. Ibar calls off Power, and a nice play by Eric for the 3rd out.
You talk about screening somebody, but what a play by Ibar.
The out-of-town scoreboard. Mentioned Houston walked off on the Rays. 3-2. Texas over Seattle. Baltimore over the Mets 5-4. And Philly beat Toronto. Yankees winning. And Kansas City ended up winning as well. Weaver in the dugout. A chance to talk with Scioscia.
He goes, I didn't really want to take you out, but I had to. I felt compelled to take you out. Weaver goes, all right, it worked out well.
It seemed like a one-sided conversation.
Yes. That's the thing that's so hard as a manager, really, especially in the American League, when to take a starting pitcher out of the game or when to go to your bullpen, especially with a guy like Weave.
Saladino into foul territory will make the interesting catch there on the ball hit by Calhoun. One away. Cole 1 for 4 now. He had doubled back into third. So it'll bring up Trout.
And I was just talking to Weaver just the other day. He said the big thing for him at this point He wants to get that trust back from Mike Scioscia, that he can go out there and pitch in that 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. And even though he's missed a lot of time, he wants to get that trust back, and I think he's getting close now with Scioscia, allowing him to go deeper in the game, potentially that next time out.
Trout tonight 1 for 2, a single, a strikeout, and a walk. There's Samardzija out there, 111 pitches so far. That is out toward right. J.B. Shuck racing to his left, dives, and he makes a catch. Nice play by J.B. And if he doesn't come up with it,
that's minimum triple. We've seen J.B. Shuck make some outstanding plays wearing an Angel uniform, tracks that one well. The dive, outstanding play. That gets by him. That's at least a triple for Trout. And then right on the baseball, able to catch it and secure the baseball in the glove. Samardzija. We talked about high energy pitchers in this game between Weaver and Samardzija. Both pumped up tonight.
Murphy 1 for 3. One ball, one strike. 8 hits for the Halos tonight, 6 for Chicago. Nobody warming up for the Angels, so he'll pitch the 8th. Saladino, Eaton, and Abreu. 9-1-2 due up.
Joe Smith more than likely will be called upon to close out the game tonight.
And Houston has pitched in 3 straight games.
5 of the last 6 games. Quite a few pitches.
Bouncer to the right side. Sanchez has it. The Angels go down in order. 7 complete. Halos leading at 1-0.
No flipping after the game. Stick around for our Angels Live postgame show. Tim Salmon, soon to be going into the Angels Hall of Fame, will be here with Jose Mota, Alex Curry getting all of the interviews, talking about Jared Weaver, Carlos Perez, who's getting a lot of playing time, and of course this bullpen, which is going to have to lock down this W for the Halos, and they're going to be crucial down the stretch. I was talking to Steve Solis, bullpen coach for the Halos. I said, give me the characteristics, the identity of this bullpen. He kind of chuckled and said, quiet. A lot of young guys out there. They don't really talk. There's Steve Solis. You got Tom Gregorio right there on your right. Until Houston Street gets out there in the 5th or Joe Smith in the 3rd, Tom and Steve are the only ones talking out there, but they all know their roles. They're extremely confident, and they all get along tremendously. Right now, though, back to Victor and Gooby. Guys, can I get you, I don't know, a coffee, a cappuccino, or an espresso to finish off this game?
All the above, please.
Patrick, since you asked, my man.
Yes.
Yes.
And yes, and yes.
As long as you're comfortable.
That's what it's all about. Our comfort.
Yes, it is.
The seats are killing my back. Because you got to lean forward to keep score. It's not the seats itself. This one lined toward short. Ibar with a dive, and he got it.
Boys, he made some plays. You look for your stars to make big plays in big moments. Eric Ibar, what a play that is at this point of the game. Good read off the bat. Looked like that ball was going to find its way into the outfield, but Eric Ibar, what an outstanding play. The react and catching that just before it hits the dirt. Because if it hits the dirt, there's no way he's going to be able to get up and make the throw across to get Saladino. But what a play by Eric.
That's very similar to the way that Trout hurt his left wrist on the dive at shallow center a couple of weeks ago. Tough to keep that ball in the glove, especially if that the glove turns over and the wrist rolls over. Nice play by Eric. 1 out. Here's Eaton. He will take outside. Eaton tonight 1 for 3. Singled in the 1st inning. Broken bat, bouncer, foul. One ball, 2 strikes on Eaton. Abreu, the first baseman, on deck.
Zamar just still in that dugout. 116 pitches thrown in 7 innings. Very good outing, considering where he was his last 3, in which he went 15 in the 3rd innings pitched, 22 earned runs.
Zach Putnam getting ready. Called strike 3, down goes Eaton, 2 away.
Perfect location with that movement. 97. That big punch out.
Dangerous hitter, Jose Abreu. 0 for 3 tonight. 22 home runs on the season. Two-0 count. Halos in the 8th inning. Crone, Ibar, and DeJesus coming up. Looks like Putnam will be coming into the game. Season high for Samardzija as far as pitches, 120.
And that fastball and a fastball count up and in at 96.
Ground ball towards second. Giavotella comes in. And a 1-2-3-8 will head to the bottom of the 8th inning. 1-0 Angels.
for some insurance, but it'll be a different pitcher the Angels will be facing here. And Zach Putnam coming in. Samardzija out of the game after going 7 very good innings, only 1 run allowed. Putnam, this will be his 40th game, 3-3. ERA exactly 3.00. Fastball, pretty firm, 88-92. A cut fastball and a split finger fastball is go-to to get a swing and miss. But what a job by Trevor Gott in a high leverage situation for a youngster to come in and pitch very, very well. An inning and 2/3 of outstanding baseball for Trevor Gott.
Angels will face a new pitcher here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Zach Putnam takes over. 40th game, 3-3 record, and even 3 ERA. C.J. Cron looks at a strike. Samardzija 7 innings tonight, 8 hits, 1 home run, 7 strikeouts, 2 walks. He seriously worked out of some early troubles in this game. The Angels let him off the hook several times, especially in the 2nd inning. Bases loaded, nobody out.
Thing is, good pitchers can figure out a way to get through that with some quality pitches. He made some very good ones, especially fastballs upstairs.
Yeah, Angels 0 for 10 tonight. With men in scoring position. A dribbler foul, 1-2. Joe Smith, as we anticipated, getting ready for the 9th. Ground ball foul. Ibar on deck. Almost chased the breaking ball. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Crowell with a base hit back into 2nd is 1 for 3. Rolls this one over to 3rd. Saladino has it. 1 away. And as promised early in the game, we've selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. Tweet us your strongest fan photo to hashtag WestDataStrongFan for a chance to be featured in an upcoming broadcast. It's brought to you by T-Mobile. It's been a fun, enjoyable night here in the Diamond Club, and hopefully you enjoyed our presentation from down here.
It's great just to see the different angles, to see the reads off the bat for the defenders, the swing, especially that swing from Carlos Perez on the 1 mistake out over the plate. Not many made by Samardzija, but Carlos Perez made him pay for it.
Certainly appreciated the eats down here. Incredible.
Yeah, we'll be running for a long time tomorrow.
Everything around Major League Baseball in the books. A final. This is the only game still going on. 1 ball, 1 strike. Looking ahead to the 9th inning for Chicago. They've got Cabrera, Garcia, and Shuck due up. Joe Smith having gone to relief. Ground ball over to Abreu. 2 down. David DeJesus now up, the left fielder tonight. A walk, a fly ball to left, and a ground ball to 2nd. No balls and 2 strikes. Halos needing a victory to stay 2.5 back of the Houston Astros, who walked off on the Rays tonight. Texas remains 4 back. They won tonight. They picked up their 61st win. Slow roller over to first, and the Angels go down in order as actually the last 8 in a row retired after the Perez home run. We head to the 9th. Joe Smith coming in to close it out. 1-0 Halos. Couple of changes for the Angels. Shane Victorino takes over in left field for David DeJesus. New second baseman, it's Ryan Jackson taking over for Johnny Giavitello. And as you hear the music, Joe
Smith time. Trying to close this one out. Very good. This will be his 53rd game. ERA 2.72. He's also pitched last 3 games. 33 total pitches thrown by Joe in those last 3.
Joe last night threw 12 pitches, 1 inning, the rest zeros. Pitched he came on in relief, I should say, after a couple of singles to lead off the 8th inning against Garrett Richards. He faced 9, 1, and 2. Tonight he'll face Cabrera, Garcia, and Shuck, 3, 4, and 5. '53rd game for Joe. 4-3 mark at a 2.72 ERA. Has 1 save under his belt this year. 40 punch outs and 13 walks.
He's pitched a lot of times against this White Sox club. It's been very effective against Chicago throughout his career. 1.89 ERA for Joe.
Cabrera tonight 1 for 3, a single back in the first. This one ripped towards second and just beyond the reach of Jackson, who timed his lead perfectly. And it's a leadoff single, tying run at first. There's Garcia, the DH. Garcia 0 for 3 with a strikeout, a fly ball to left, and a ground ball to third.
Garcia runs well, but he has grounded into 9 double plays.
got a piece of that one. Snowballs at a strike. White Sox, no runs, 7 hits, no errors. They've left 5 on base. Taylor's with a run. The Carlos Perez home run in the 6th. 8 total hits. 9 stranded. Ground ball to short. Ibar has to hurry. There's only plays to first. 1 down. Tying run down, scoring position.
He's hit slow enough. There's no chance of a play at second. But a good throw and another solid play by Eric Ibar in this game. He's made a ton of them.
Trace Thompson now out of the dugout. He's going to pinch run for Melky.
Good speed and Thompson.
Chuck tonight 2 for 3 with a couple of singles. Adam LaRoche has come out to the on-deck circle. He would bat for Alexi Ramirez. 0-1. Victorino playing shallow and left. Trout shallow in center. Cole at normal depth and right. Down and in. Again, Houston Street has pitched the last 3 games, 5 of the last 6. Mike Scioscia giving him the night off. Joe in to close it out. Leadoff single by Melky Cabrera. Moved to second on the ground out by Garcia.
He's trying to keep him close, not allowing Thompson to get a big secondary lead.
Two balls, 1 strike. A couple of Ohio natives here. Joe Smith, J.B. Shuck.
He was just trying to punch the ball the other way. That pitch pretty much down the heart of the plate. Now if you read that, if you're Victorino out in left field, you got to be ready for a fly ball your way. Victorino with a very solid throwing arm himself out in left field.
2-2. That is fouled at the plate. Thompson, pitch runner at second, good lead, 2-2. Off the plate, full count.
Boy, sitting down here, you can feel this energy in the stadium, a little nervous energy. Looking for Joe Smith to make a perfect pitch right now.
3-2, gets away. Thompson does not advance. So it's a walk, puts 2 on with 1 out. Now they've got the double play in order with LaRoche coming up as the pinch hitter.
And this pitch just below the strike zone gets away. Thompson unable to read that one. Might have had a shot at going to third base with a good secondary lead and a quick read, similar to what we saw with Eric Ibar earlier in the game.
Tough sometimes as Butcher comes out to pay a visit real quick. That ball stays in line with the hitter. Runner's got to read the baseball if he doesn't see it. Got to hold. Jose Alvarez, the lefty. Fernando Salas, the right hitter, now up and getting ready for the Angels. Just the second time tonight the White Sox have had multiple base runners on board. The other was back in the first. Weaver gave up 2 hits. White Sox had runners at the corners with 1 out. Weaver got out of it. Now it's Joe Smith here in the 9th. First and second. 1 out. Throws 1 for 5 in his career against Smith. He takes downstairs.
He's rolled into 7 double plays this year.
Hitting .208, 10 home runs, 37 RBIs. As a pinch hitter, he's 1 for 4. Thompson, the base runner, at second. And Shuck at first. Pretty good speed on the bases for Chicago. That one missing down and away. Somebody from the Angels dugout asking Dana DeMuth. The pitch did miss down and away. Stayed in that same spot. 2-1.
Dangerous spot too, down and away like that, especially with the shift on in the infield.
3 guys on the right side. Cowart, the only man on the left. Victorino still shallow in left field. 2-1 off the play. 3-1. Carlos Sanchez, switch hitting second baseman, on deck. Roche bounces this one to the right side. Crone has it, goes to second for 1. The relay back to first. Safe at first base. Joe better turn around because there's no
Somebody's
time.
Somebody's got to talk to him.
Standing at third base, not paying attention. And now finally they get his attention here. But Thompson was tying his shoes.
And he might have a chance to score. I've seen that play before. I remember I talked about it before with David Cohn, similar play at first base. And Dino Eva was going to check just to make sure Joe didn't make contact with the base to complete a 3-6-1 double play. If it's close enough, if I'm Mike Scioscia, I'm taking a shot. If it's close, see if he's got his foot on the base.
Oh,
wow, that's
pretty close.
Yeah, I would do it.
Absolutely challenging. I'm very surprised that Trace Thompson stopped at third and started tying his shoes.
Yeah, you just got to keep going.
Yeah,
because that's still a very tough throw.
Got him.
Base out.
That should be game over.
But what a play by Joe and C.J. Crone. He threw that ball with authority to Eric Ibar. And then Eric Ibar with a perfect feed to Joe Smith. See right there, he's touching the base. Again, they got to have that definitive look.
Mike Estabrook and Dana DeMuth, the 2 guys on the headsets behind home plate. And that's Joe blindly reaching for the bag.
And that's a tough play all the way around when you think about it. It's a tough call, too, for a first base umpire, because you see a pitcher trying to run and stabbing with his foot at the base, but there's contact with the base, it looked like, before LaRoche touched the base himself. Difficult call for the first base umpire.
Key in that call by Estabrook, too. He didn't signal as if the foot was off the base.
Yeah, he signaled as if the throw did not beat him.
Correct.
I think this has got a real good chance of being overturned and called out.
The worst case scenario is first and third and 2 outs.
We haven't seen many of these ones where the game is on the line right here, where a replay, an instant replay, could end the game.
And a ball not hit that hard. Crone.
That's a perfect feed. He threw that ball hard to short.
Gutsy throw to second base,
yes,
too.
it was. A lot of times you're just trying to take it out.
Not liking the fact that it's taken a little too long here. But, of course, matter of game over or game continued, you got to make sure that you get the call right.
Exactly right.
Well, it looks like from a couple of angles that the foot is on the bag, so there's no talk about separation. Here's another look at it here.
Yeah, that ball's in the glove, foot on the base before he's touching the bag, LaRoche. It should be out.
Yep. It all goes back to that definitive angle. And there are times where we think we've seen all of the angles available, but there are other cameras, of course. You have two crews doing the game. Maybe there's a different angle that they're taking a look at.
There's contact.
Yeah.
There's contact. With that angle right there, if you're looking for a definitive angle, that's an angle you get.
Oh, they are still on the headset here. If the call, which was safe at first, is overturned, the game is over and the Angels shut out the White Sox. If not, it'll be Carlos Sanchez coming up with 2 outs and runners at the corners.
And also good decisions for Joe to continue to throw, keep focused just in case.
Yeah.
The call stands. Looks like they're moving. Looks like they're ready. Well,
David Demuth is the crew chief. Out at first, light that baby up as the Angels shut out the White Sox 1-0.
Boy, credit to the pitching staff in this game. What an effort from Weaver to Gott to Smith. Outstanding pitching performance, and the only run of the game, solo shot by Carlos Perez, who was outstanding defensively behind the plate. Called an outstanding game with that big swing he had against the margin out over the plate. Solo shot, the only run of the game. 10th shutout this year for the Angels. 8th shutout at home for the Angels. What a win. Another tight game. And another one of those games where you just bite your nail all the way to the end, but what a play by C.J. Cron to Eric Ayamar to Joe Smith to complete a 3-6-1 double play.
Terrific double play to end it. Little drama there with the replay at first base, but the call gets overturned and the Angels end up shutting out the White Sox that make that 3 straight, and they will go for the series sweep tomorrow night. And it'll be Nick Tropiano getting the start for the Angels, a spot start for him. Hero tonight, of course, Carlos Perez.
This was fun here tonight, too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thanks to our crew for able to put all this stuff together and allow us to sit down here. I know it's kind of an imposition on some, but hopefully you enjoyed the different angles, different views from us and our perspective down here. Mention Carlos Perez, the hero tonight with the home run. He is down with Alex Curry. Alex.
Thank you, Victor. What an end to a game there. It's got to feel good with how hard you guys worked to see the game end on such a strong double play like that.
Yeah, I think it was a pretty good game. Everybody stayed in the game, worked hard, played hard. The pitch was good too, so it was a pretty good game.
And speaking of pitching, Jared Weaver was dealing tonight. What did you see him do well on the mound?
It's really changed the speed, and he located the fastball and the breaking ball really good. And I think it was really a focus today, so it's really good today.
It's been a strong series for you, a great game tonight, being the difference maker with that home run. Are you just seeing the ball well right now?
Yeah, I see the ball well. I just trying to be aggressive, but at the same time try to good pitch the hit, and I think it's working for now.
I'd say it's working. Well, congratulations on a great game.
Thank you.
The Angels make it 3 in a row here at the Big A. Looking for the series sweep tomorrow, but stick around for Angels Live with Patrick O'Neill, Jose Mota, and Tim Salmon next.